René Magritte, an artist who turned the ordinary into the extraordinary. His surreal paintings have captivated minds for decades, blurring the lines between reality and illusion. But who was the man behind the bowler hat and the floating apple? Today, we dive deep into the life and legacy of René Magritte, uncovering the personal struggles, artistic triumphs, and the philosophies that made him one of the most celebrated surrealist painters of all time. Early life and education. René François Ghislain Magritte was born on November 21, 1898 in Lessines, a small industrial town in Belgium. His father, Léopold Magritte, worked as a tailor and textile merchant, providing a modest income for the family. His mother, Regina, was a milliner, a profession that perhaps influenced Magritte's later fascination with hats, a recurring motif in his work. The Magritte family moved frequently during René's childhood, eventually settling in Châtelet. Despite these relocations, René showed an early interest in art, reportedly creating his first drawings at the age of 12. However, his childhood was marked by a tragic event that would deeply influence his psyche and his art. In 1912, when René was just 13 years old, his mother committed suicide by drowning in the River Sambre. This was not her first suicide attempt, as she had struggled with mental health issues for years. The story goes that when her body was recovered, her dress had covered her face. This haunting image stayed with René and may have inspired his later works, such as The Lovers, 1928, where figures have their faces obscured by cloth. Despite this tragedy, René pursued his passion for art. In 1916, he enrolled at the Académie Royale des Beaux-Arts in Brussels. While his formal education there was brief and he found the traditional curriculum uninspiring, it provided him with foundational skills that he would later subvert in his surrealist works. The formative years. Magritte's early adulthood was a period of experimentation and self-discovery. In 1922, he married Georgette Berger, a woman he had first met as a teenager. Their relationship was one of the most stable and enduring aspects of Magritte's life, and Georgette frequently appeared in his paintings as both a muse and a symbol of constancy. During this time, Magritte worked a series of odd jobs to make ends meet. He designed posters, advertisements, and wallpaper, honing his ability to blend art with everyday objects, a skill that would later define his surrealist style. In 1926, Magritte painted The Lost Jockey, widely considered his first surrealist work. This marked the beginning of his exploration of dreamlike scenarios and the juxtaposition of ordinary objects in extraordinary contexts. The same year, he signed a contract with Galerie La Centaure in Brussels, allowing him to focus on painting full-time. Paris and the Surrealist movement. Magritte's first solo exhibition in 1927 was met with harsh criticism, leaving him disillusioned. Seeking inspiration and a fresh start, he moved to Paris in 1927, where he became involved with the Surrealist movement led by André Breton. While in Paris, Magritte developed his unique approach to surrealism. Unlike Salvador Dali's hyper-realistic dreamscapes, Magritte's works were more conceptual, often presenting ordinary objects in unexpected ways. For example, in The Treachery of Images, 1929, he painted a realistic image of a pipe, accompanied by the text, "Ceci n'est pas une pipe." This is not a pipe. The painting challenges viewers to question the relationship between words, images, and reality, encapsulating the philosophical underpinnings of surrealism. Magritte also explored themes of concealment and revelation. In works like The Lovers, The False Mirror, and Time Transfixed, he played with the idea of what is seen versus what is hidden, inviting viewers to question their perceptions. The war years and the Renoir period. When World War II erupted, Magritte returned to Brussels and continued to paint, despite the chaos surrounding him. During the early 1940s, he adopted a lighter, more impressionistic style, inspired by Pierre-Auguste Renoir. This phase, known as his Renoir period, was a significant departure from his earlier work. Some art historians believe this shift was a response to the grim realities of war. Magritte may have sought to create a sense of hope and beauty amidst the darkness. Paintings like The Return, 1940, which features a bird made of sky and clouds, reflect this more optimistic outlook. Post-war success and global recognition. The post-war years marked a turning point in Magritte's career. His works gained increasing recognition, and he became a central figure in the European Surrealist movement. Exhibitions across Europe and the United States brought his art to a global audience, solidifying his reputation as a master of Surrealism. Magritte's paintings from this era often featured recurring motifs: men in bowler hats, floating apples, and mysterious clouds. One of his most famous works, Golconda, 1953, depicts men in bowler hats raining from the sky. The image is both whimsical and unsettling, capturing the duality that defines much of Magritte's work. Later years and iconic works. As René Magritte entered the later years of his career, his work took on a reflective and iconic quality. In 1964, he unveiled The Son of Man, a painting that would become a cornerstone of his legacy. The image depicts a man in a dark suit and bowler hat standing against a cloudy sky, his face obscured by a hovering green apple. Magritte described the painting as a representation of the tension between what is visible and what's hidden, a theme that encapsulates the core of his artistic philosophy. The Son of Man is widely regarded as a visual riddle, inviting endless interpretations and securing its place as one of the most recognizable works in modern art. During this period, Magritte also created other masterpieces that continued to explore his fascination with light, shadow, and perception. The Empire of Light series, for instance, juxtaposes daytime skies with nighttime landscapes, creating an unsettling yet harmonious blend of contrasts. Similarly, The Mysteries of the Horizon features men in bowler hats gazing at crescent moons, evoking a sense of quiet contemplation and cosmic mystery. These works highlight Magritte's ability to evoke profound emotions and philosophical questions through deceptively simple imagery. His later paintings reflect a mature artist at the height of his powers, blending innovation with the timeless themes that had defined his career. Death and legacy. René Magritte passed away on August 15, 1967, at the age of 68 from pancreatic cancer. He left behind an extraordinary body of work that continues to inspire and intrigue. Magritte's influence extends far beyond the art world. Filmmakers like Alfred Hitchcock and Christopher Nolan have drawn inspiration from his work, as have musicians, writers, and contemporary artists. His ability to combine the familiar with the extraordinary has made his art timeless, challenging viewers to look beyond the surface and question their perceptions of reality. If you enjoyed this journey into the life of René Magritte, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of iconic artists. Until next time, keep questioning the ordinary.
Today, we're diving into the world of one of the most iconic visual artists of the 20th century, Man Ray. Known for his groundbreaking contributions to Surrealism, Dada, and modernist photography, Man Ray's work goes beyond just painting. He was a multi-talented artist who pushed the boundaries of what art could be, blending photography, sculpture, film, and more. His ability to challenge conventions and experiment with new ideas left a lasting impact on the art world. So, let's take a closer look at 15 of his most unforgettable artworks. Ready to explore the mind of a visionary? Let's get started. 1. The Gift, 1921. First up, we have The Gift from 1921, a masterpiece of surrealist sculpture. Originally created as a found object piece, The Gift is a flat iron with nails glued to its surface. It's a perfect example of Man Ray's ability to turn everyday objects into thought-provoking art. This piece challenges our perception of the ordinary, transforming it into something completely unexpected. 2. Le Violon d'Ingres, 1924. Next is Le Violin d'Ingres, one of Man Ray's most famous photographs. This iconic image features a female nude with violin F-holes painted onto her back, blending the human body with musical symbolism. The title is a clever reference to the French painter Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres, whose works were also known for their idealized female forms. 3. Noir et Blanche, 1926. Another striking photograph is Noir et Blanche from 1926. In this black and white portrait, Man Ray captures a model with an African mask held over her face, creating an enigmatic, exotic atmosphere. It's a powerful commentary on racial and cultural representation, blending Western and African influences. 4. The Lovers, 1936. Man Ray's The Lovers from 1936 is a hauntingly beautiful surrealist painting, showing two figures locked in a passionate embrace. The lovers are painted in such a way that their faces become one, suggesting a unity and simultaneous loss of identity. This piece explores the complexities of love, connection, and the human form. 5. Rayographs, 1922. Man Ray's rayographs, created in 1922, are an experimental photographic technique that revolutionized the medium. Instead of using a camera, he placed objects directly on photographic paper and exposed it to light. The resulting images, called photograms, capture intricate, abstract forms created by shadows and light. This process allowed Man Ray to explore the interplay between light, form, and abstraction, producing some of his most mesmerizing and innovative works. 6. Électricité, 1931. Man Ray's Électricité from 1931 is a striking piece of modernist photography that captures the essence of energy and movement. The photograph features a glowing light bulb paired with soft shadows, creating an electric, almost futuristic aesthetic. This piece reflects Man Ray's ongoing fascination with light and energy, and it symbolizes the growing industrial age. By capturing these elements in such an artistic way, he elevates the ordinary into something extraordinary. 7. Self-Portrait, 1921. One of the more introspective works by Man Ray is his self-portrait from 1921. This image showcases the artist's face in stark contrast with harsh lighting, creating a moody and mysterious atmosphere. What makes this self-portrait particularly interesting is Man Ray's choice to abstract his image, using dramatic shadows and angles to distort the self. The piece reflects his constant search for identity, not just as an artist, but as an individual. 8. Object to be Destroyed, 1923. Next is Object to be Destroyed, a piece that reflects Man Ray's Dadaist tendencies. This work features a metronome with a photograph of Man Ray's own eye glued to its face. The metronome, typically a symbol of time, is now an object of destruction, as the title suggests. The concept behind the piece is simple yet profound. It represents the fragility of time and the inevitable passage of life, suggesting that even something as mechanical as a metronome can be reduced to chaos and destruction. 9. Minotaur, 1935. Man Ray's Minotaur from 1935 is a stunning example of his exploration of mythology and human psychology. The image features a model in a provocative pose, evoking the mythical Minotaur, a creature half man and half bull. By using a human form to represent the Minotaur, Man Ray blurs the line between the mythological and the real. This piece delves into the unconscious mind, reflecting the tension between human desire and the darker, more primal forces that lie beneath the surface. 10. Indestructible Object, 1923. Another Dadaist work by Man Ray is Indestructible Object, created in 1923. It features a metronome with a photograph of an eye attached to it. The idea behind the piece is to challenge the idea of permanence in both art and time. The use of the eye symbol suggests that vision or perception is the most fragile and subjective of senses. The work's title, Indestructible Object, is ironically at odds with the piece's true nature, as it is something that can ultimately be destroyed. 11. Space Writing, 1938. Man Ray's Space Writing series, created in 1938, combines photography with experimental techniques to create glowing patterns in space. To make these works, he used a flashlight in a dark room, capturing light trails as they moved through the air. The result is a series of ethereal and abstract forms that seem to defy the physical world. This series exemplifies his ability to blend science, technology, and art into something entirely new and mesmerizing. 12. Cadeau, 1921. Once again, we encounter Cadeau, another one of Man Ray's most influential works. Similar to The Gift, this piece involves a flat iron with nails affixed to it. However, this version has a more deliberate function. The nails are attached in a way that renders the object entirely impractical. It's a reflection of the absurdity inherent in the Dada movement, questioning the role of function and form in art. 13. Kiss, 1931. The Kiss, 1931, is a stunning example of Man Ray's exploration of the human body in surrealistic ways. The sculpture depicts two intertwined figures in an intimate and sensual pose. Its minimalistic design allows the figures to appear almost sculptural in nature, creating a mysterious and powerful representation of love and desire. 14. Larmes, 1930. Larmes, Tears, created in 1930, is a poignant surrealist piece that features a pair of glass eyes shedding artificial tears. The symbolic representation of tears as an object calls attention to the fragility of human emotions. It is a meditation on the transient nature of feelings and the human condition, showcasing Man Ray's unique ability to blend emotional depth with surrealist aesthetics. 15. The Enigma of Isidore Ducasse, 1920. The Enigma of Isidore Ducasse from 1920 is another surreal masterpiece by Man Ray, inspired by the works of the poet Lautréamont. The piece features a metal object placed strategically with symbolic connotations that remain open to interpretation. It represents the idea of mystery, the unknown, and the complexity of life. As with many of his works, Man Ray invites the viewer to question everything they see and think, challenging conventional notions of what art can represent. Man Ray's body of work is truly a testament to his innovative spirit and his relentless desire to push the boundaries of art. Whether through photography, sculpture, or experimental techniques, his art continues to inspire artists around the world today. Which of these works left an impression on you? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more art explorations. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video. Keith Haring, an artist whose work wasn't just seen, it was experienced. With bold lines and vibrant colors, his creations brought life to urban spaces and carried profound messages of love, unity, and activism. But Keith Haring wasn't just about art. He was about using art to connect, inspire, and drive change. From the graffiti-laden subways of New York City to the global stage, Keith Haring redefined what art could be and who it was for. In today's video, we're diving into the life and legacy of this cultural icon, exploring his journey from small-town Pennsylvania to international stardom, and how his work continues to resonate with audiences worldwide. Early life. Roots of creativity. Keith Allen Haring was born on May 4, 1958, in Reading, Pennsylvania, and grew up in the nearby town of Kutztown. As the eldest of 4 siblings, Haring was naturally curious and creative. His father, Allen Haring, an amateur cartoonist, was one of his first inspirations. Together, they bonded over drawing, with Keith often creating characters influenced by Dr. Seuss, Walt Disney, and Looney Tunes. Even as a child, Keith's unique perspective on the world was evident. He wasn't just drawing for fun. He was storytelling through his art, finding ways to convey emotions and narratives. By the time he reached high school, his artistic talent had set him apart, although he was still discovering his distinct style. Discovering purpose, a break from the norm. In 1976, Haring graduated from high school and enrolled at the Ivy School of Professional Art in Pittsburgh to study graphic design. At first glance, this seemed like the perfect career path for someone with his artistic skills. However, it didn't take long for Keith to feel constrained by the structured, commercial nature of graphic design. After just 2 semesters, Haring dropped out. It was a risky move, but one that marked a turning point in his life. Instead of pursuing commercial art, he immersed himself in contemporary art, drawn to its experimental and boundary-pushing ethos. During his time in Pittsburgh, Haring was deeply inspired by the works of Andy Warhol, Jean Dubuffet, and other avant-garde artists. These influences would later shape his approach to creating art that was bold, accessible, and unapologetically authentic. The big move, New York City. In 1978, Haring took a leap of faith and moved to New York City, enrolling at the School of Visual Arts, SVA. For Haring, New York was more than a city. It was a canvas teeming with life, energy, and possibilities. The late 1970s and early 1980s in New York were marked by a vibrant underground art scene, where graffiti artists, musicians, and performers thrived. Haring quickly became a part of this community, finding inspiration in the city streets, subways, and nightlife. At SVA, Haring studied semiotics, the study of signs and symbols, which deepened his understanding of visual communication. He experimented with various mediums, including performance and video art, but it was his fascination with graffiti that truly set the stage for his iconic style. Subway art, a revolution in accessibility. By the early 1980s, Haring had discovered his most revolutionary medium, subway art. Armed with white chalk, he transformed and used black advertising panels in subway stations into vibrant illustrations. These drawings featured recurring symbols like the radiant baby, barking dogs, and dancing figures. The simplicity of his forms made them universally recognizable, but their deeper meanings invited interpretation. Commuters would stop, intrigued by the art that appeared almost magically overnight. For Haring, the subway wasn't just a means of transport, it was a public gallery. He believed art should be accessible to everyone, not confined to elite spaces like museums or galleries. His subway drawings became a cultural phenomenon, turning him into an underground celebrity. Themes in Haring's art. Haring's art was a powerful blend of simplicity and complexity. While his bold lines and vibrant colors had a playful quality, they often addressed profound and challenging themes. His radiant baby symbolized purity, potential, and the power of new beginnings. Meanwhile, his barking dogs and dynamic figures explored authority, control, and the struggles of marginalized communities. Haring's work often carried social and political undertones, reflecting his belief that art should engage with the world's pressing issues. Whether he was addressing nuclear disarmament, apartheid, or LGBTQ+ rights, Haring's art always carried a sense of urgency and purpose. The rise to fame. As Haring's subway art gained recognition, his career began to take off. In 1981, he held his first solo exhibition at the West Beth Painter Space in New York. From there, his popularity soared, with his work being featured in galleries and exhibitions worldwide. Throughout the 1980s, Haring created large-scale murals that transcended cultural and geographical boundaries. From a children's hospital in Paris to a mural on the Berlin Wall, his art was a universal language that resonated across the globe. Haring also collaborated with icons like Madonna and Grace Jones, merging his art with pop culture and music. These collaborations further cemented his status as a cultural trailblazer. Activism and advocacy. Haring was not just an artist. He was a tireless activist. As an openly gay man, he was deeply connected to the LGBTQ+ community and used his art to advocate for their rights. During the AIDS crisis of the 1980s, Haring became a vocal advocate for awareness and education. His iconic work Silence Equals Death, featuring the pink triangle, became a rallying cry for the fight against AIDS. In 1989, he established the Keith Haring Foundation, dedicated to supporting organizations involved in AIDS research and children's programs. The foundation became a cornerstone of his legacy, ensuring his activism would continue even after his death. The Pop Shop, art for everyone. In 1986, Haring opened the Pop Shop in Manhattan, a retail space where people could purchase affordable items featuring his artwork. From t-shirts to posters, the shop made his art accessible to the masses. Critics accused him of commercializing his work, but Haring saw it differently. For him, the Pop Shop was an extension of his philosophy that art should be for everyone, not just an elite few. The shop became a symbol of his commitment to breaking down barriers between art and everyday life. The final years. In 1988, Haring was diagnosed with AIDS. Despite his illness, he remained determined to create and inspire. His later works reflected a heightened sense of urgency, as if he knew his time was limited. Haring continued to produce art until his death on February 16, 1990, at the age of 31. His passing marked the end of a remarkable life, but his impact on the art world and society endures. Legacy: a lasting impact. Keith Haring's art continues to inspire and engage audiences worldwide. His murals, drawings, and installations are celebrated in museums, schools, and public spaces, serving as a testament to his belief in the power of art to bring people together. The Keith Haring Foundation remains a vital force, supporting initiatives that reflect his values of inclusivity, education, and activism. Keith Haring's life was a celebration of creativity, connection, and courage. He didn't just make art, he made a difference. From the subways of New York to the walls of the world, his work reminds us that art can be a force for change, a voice for the voiceless, and a source of hope. If Keith Haring's story inspired you, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of artists who changed the world. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Henri Matisse was one of the most influential artists of the 20th century, celebrated for his bold use of color and revolutionary techniques that shaped modern art. Born on December 31, 1869 in northern France, Matisse's journey from a law student to a trailblazing artist is a story of passion and resilience. Alongside Picasso, he redefined artistic expression, leaving behind iconic works that continue to inspire generations. From his vibrant Fauvist masterpieces to his later cutout creations, Matisse's art radiates joy and innovation. Join us as we explore the extraordinary life and legacy of this modern art pioneer. Along with Pablo Picasso, he revolutionized the field of visual arts during the early decades of the century.
Picasso had understood Matisse long before anybody else. When he first arrived in Paris, he knew what he was up against the minute he saw Matisse's paintings. The same thing in the 1940s.
Known for his expressive use of color and innovative draftsmanship, Matisse became a leading figure in modern art. Early life and education. He was the eldest son of a wealthy grain merchant and grew up in Beauharnais-en-Vermandois. Initially, Matisse pursued law, moving to Paris in 1887 to study and later working as a court administrator. However, his life took a dramatic turn in 1889 during a long recovery from appendicitis. His mother gave him art supplies to pass the time, and Matisse discovered a newfound passion for painting, which he described as a kind of paradise. Against his father's wishes, he decided to pursue art professionally. In 1891, at the age of 22, Matisse returned to Paris and enrolled at the Académie Julian.
He began to use these shapes initially as a means of constructing paintings, but they then gained an independent life. I think he began to see a potential in them.
Studying under academic painter William Adolphe Bouguereau and symbolist artist Gustave Moreau. Matisse began with traditional landscapes and still lifes, but was soon inspired by masters like Jean-Baptiste Siméon Chardin, Edouard Manet, and Japanese art. He even copied Chardin's paintings to refine his technique. In 1896, Australian impressionist John Russell introduced Matisse to Impressionism, Vincent van Gogh's work, and color theory, inspiring him to adopt a brighter palette and expressive style. Career breakthroughs. In 1898, Matisse married Amélie Parère, with whom he raised two sons, Jean and Pierre, along with Marguerite, his daughter from a previous relationship. Matisse's career evolved as he studied works by various artists and developed friendships with Albert Marquet, André Derain, and Jean Puy. By the early 1900s, he began experimenting with the divisionist technique, a neo-impressionist style involving dots or patches of separated colors. In 1904, Matisse held his first solo exhibition, which failed to gain attention.
He would do whatever shape he wanted. He did that very fast with dynamism. It just went in a very spontaneous manner. It was creation itself.
Despite the setback, he persisted. and his bold use of color reached new heights in the Fauvist movement, which he co-founded with André Derain around 1905. Focusing on strong, expressive colors over realistic representation, Matisse created iconic works like Woman with a Hat and Open Window. Though these works faced criticism, they also caught the attention of art collectors such as Gertrude Stein and her family, who became his patrons. This support allowed Matisse to continue his creative journey, exploration, and innovation. During the early 20th century, Matisse traveled extensively, drawing inspiration from African art, Islamic art, and Japanese prints. In 1910, a visit to an Islamic art exhibition in Munich led him to Spain, where he studied Moorish art. Later, his trips to Morocco and Tangier influenced his use of bold, unmodulated colors, as seen in the Red Studio. These explorations broadened his artistic horizons, resulting in a unique blend of styles. Matisse's connections to influential collectors like Sergei Shchukin, a Russian businessman, played a pivotal role in his career. Shchukin commissioned Matisse's masterpieces La Danse, 1909, and Music, 1910, solidifying his reputation as a pioneer of modern art. By this time, Matisse's work extended beyond Fauvism, displaying a remarkable evolution in style and technique. Later years in cutout art. 1917, Matisse moved to Nice on the French Riviera, seeking a more relaxed lifestyle. This period marked a shift in his work, characterized by a softer, decorative approach, including odalisque paintings inspired by Orientalist themes. Though these works faced criticism, they gained popularity and reflected Matisse's continued adaptability. In the 1930s, Matisse embraced collaboration, resulting in bolder simplifications and renewed energy in his work. However, personal challenges arose in 1939 when his wife Amélie ended their marriage after 41 years, suspecting an affair between Matisse and his assistant, Lydia Delektorskaya. Despite the turmoil, Lydia remained a loyal companion, assisting him until his death. During World War II, Matisse stayed in France, while his family played active roles in the resistance. His daughter, Marguerite, narrowly escaped death after being captured and tortured by the Gestapo, while his son Pierre aided French and Jewish artists in escaping to America. In 1941, Matisse underwent surgery for abdominal cancer, leaving him physically weakened. Unable to paint or sculpt, he turned to paper cutouts, a technique that became his primary medium. Assisted by his aides, Matisse created vibrant compositions by cutting pre-painted sheets of paper into shapes and arranging them into dynamic artworks. His cutouts grew in scale, leading to monumental pieces like Jazz, 1947, an illustrated art book, and large murals. Legacy and influence Henri Matisse passed away on November 3, 1954, at the age of 84. He was interred at the Cimetière du Monastère Notre-Dame de Cimiez in Nice. Matisse's contributions to modern art remain unparalleled. Alongside Picasso, he redefined the boundaries of painting and sculpture, leaving an indelible mark on art history. His bold use of color and innovative techniques continue to inspire generations of artists. In 1952, Matisse established a museum in his hometown of Le Cateau-Cambrésis, now housing one of France's largest collections of his work. A second museum dedicated to his legacy opened in Nice in 1963, showcasing his artistic evolution and final masterpieces. Matisse's journey from a young law student to a pioneer of modern art is a testament to his unwavering passion, resilience, and dedication to his craft. His art, imbued with joy and vibrancy, remains a source of inspiration and wonder for artists and art lovers worldwide. If you enjoyed learning about Henri Matisse's incredible life and work, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more fascinating biographies. Let us know in the comments which artist you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for watching.
Today we're diving into the colorful and dynamic world of one of the most influential contemporary artists, David Hockney. Known for his bold experimentation with color, perspective, and medium, Hockney's artworks have captivated audiences for decades. From his iconic swimming pools to his innovative digital works, his art continues to shape the way we think about space, nature, and human connection. In this video, we'll be counting down the top 15 artworks by David Hockney, highlighting their significance and what makes them truly stand out. Let's get started. 1. A Bigger Splash, 1967. We begin with perhaps Hockney's most iconic work, A Bigger Splash. This large-scale painting features a dramatic splash of water in the center of a swimming pool, surrounded by a still, serene atmosphere. The use of vibrant blues and clean lines makes the pool feel almost surreal, giving it a calm yet electric energy. The splash, which seems frozen in mid-air, is a brilliant representation of motion, while the rest of the scene remains static. This work is significant not only for its striking visual appeal, but also for how it reflects Hockney's fascination with water and the Californian lifestyle he embraced in the 1960s. A Bigger Splash captures a moment of both calmness and excitement, making it one of the most memorable pieces in modern art. 2. Portrait of an Artist, Pool with Two Figures, 1972. Next up, Portrait of an Artist, Pool with Two Figures, which captures a moment of intimacy and quiet reflection. The painting features two figures, one standing at the poolside and the other swimming. The figures' connection to the water, combined with their distance from one another, creates a sense of emotional tension. Hockney uses brilliant colors and a sense of perspective that draws the viewer into the scene. The vivid blues of the pool contrast with the more muted tones of the figures' clothes, highlighting their emotional state and separation. The work is a brilliant exploration of relationships, capturing a tender moment between two people, one of whom is floating in the pool while the other observes from the edge. This tension between the figures, along with the stillness of the pool, creates a feeling of isolation despite the close proximity of the figures. 3. Mr. and Mrs. Clark and Percy, 1970-71. This double portrait of British fashion designer Ossie Clark and his wife, fashion model Celia Birtwell, along with their cat, Percy, is a quintessential example of Hockney's ability to capture personality and atmosphere in portraiture. The couple is depicted seated on a couch, surrounded by vibrant colors and a soft, somewhat surreal background. The colors, patterns, and textures in the piece highlight both the personal intimacy of the couple's relationship and Hockney's skill in using art to convey a deeper emotional truth. The cat, Percy, serves as a playful and endearing addition to the portrait, softening the formality of the scene. The use of flat, bold colors contrasts with the softness of the figures, giving the portrait a sense of realism while also adding an element of dreamlike abstraction. 4. The Arrival of Spring in Woldgate, East Yorkshire, 2011 to 2013. A series of digital iPad drawings, The Arrival of Spring in Woldgate showcases Hockney's exploration of new technology. The vibrant colors and textures capture the beauty of the changing seasons, particularly the burst of life in the spring. This series marks Hockney's departure from traditional media and his innovative use of digital tools to create art. 5. A Bigger Grand Canyon, 1998. This series of large-scale paintings and drawings of the Grand Canyon is Hockney's tribute to the natural world. By playing with perspective and color, Hockney reinterprets the vast, awe-inspiring landscape, bringing it to life in a way that's uniquely his own. The use of fragmented imagery and multiple viewpoints captures the immense scale and complexity of the Grand Canyon in a new and engaging way. 6. Bigger Trees Near Water, 2007. A monumental piece composed of 50 individual canvases, Bigger Trees Near Water is one of Hockney's largest works. The painting captures a grove of trees in East Yorkshire, celebrating the vibrancy of nature. The fragmented, almost cubist style allows viewers to experience the scene from multiple angles, inviting them to explore the details of the landscape. 7. The Blue Guitar, 1976-77. Inspired by the work of Pablo Picasso, The Blue Guitar combines Hockney's interest in cubism with his exploration of the human figure. The piece features a surreal portrayal of a guitar, with elements of abstraction and geometric shapes. The use of blue tones and bold lines creates a sense of movement, reflecting the emotional depth and complexity of music. 8. Domestic Scene with Poodle, 1963. This early painting by Hockney showcases his skill in depicting everyday life with humor and intimacy. The subject matter, a domestic scene with a poodle, seems simple, but the meticulous rendering and the striking use of color make this work a standout in his early career. 9. Garrowby Hill, 1998. This stunning landscape captures the rolling hills of the Yorkshire countryside, blending vibrant colors with a unique perspective. The twisting road through the lush green hills creates a sense of movement and depth, showcasing Hockney's mastery in portraying nature with a personal touch. This work reflects his deep connection to his roots in Yorkshire and his ongoing love for the natural world. 10. We Two Boys Together Clinging, 1961. This painting is a prime example of Hockney's early exploration of sexuality in art. The title is taken from a Walt Whitman poem, and the work depicts two young men in an intimate embrace. The bold use of color and expressive brushwork gives the scene both tenderness and urgency, creating an emotional connection between the viewer and the figures. 11. Pear Blossom Highway, 1986. This iconic photo collage captures the essence of a Californian desert highway. Composed of hundreds of individual photographs pieced together, the work plays with perspective, time, and space, creating a dynamic and fragmented vision of the scene. It's a brilliant example of Hockney's ability to push the boundaries of traditional art forms and experiment with new ways of storytelling. 12. The Road to York, 1997. This painting from the series of works he created while living in East Yorkshire captures the rural landscape in a way that feels almost cinematic. The winding road through the trees, the soft light, and the deep, saturated colors evoke a sense of movement, suggesting a journey or transition. 13. Nichols Canyon, 1980. This vibrant depiction of the Hollywood Hills is a celebration of Hockney's life in Los Angeles. With bold colors, playful lines, and an almost dreamlike quality, Nichols Canyon captures the energy and rhythm of the city. The winding road serves as a central motif, symbolizing exploration and creativity, while the bright hues evoke the sunny, carefree spirit of California. 14. The Rake's Progress, 1961. This early series of paintings, inspired by William Hogarth's 18th century work, is one of Hockney's first major explorations into narrative. It tells the story of a man's downfall, depicted in vivid, graphic scenes full of movement and drama. The series is a remarkable display of Hockney's ability to combine traditional references with modern sensibilities. 15. The Yosemite Suite, 2010. In this series, Hockney turns his attention to the stunning landscape of Yosemite National Park. The series incorporates a range of mediums, from watercolor to oil, with the distinctive characteristic of his work, fragments of the landscape presented from different perspectives. It's a beautiful tribute to the natural world and a perfect example of Hockney's ongoing evolution as an artist. David Hockney's journey through art is a fascinating one, from his early experiments with color and form to his later groundbreaking work with technology. These 15 artworks represent just a fraction of his incredible body of work, each piece reflecting his unyielding curiosity, passion, and love for life. Whether through his vivid portraits, playful swimming pool scenes, or landscapes that transcend conventional views, Hockney continues to inspire and challenge us to see the world in new ways. Which of Hockney's artworks is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into the world of art. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Pablo Picasso wasn't just an artist, he was a revolutionary who redefined the very concept of art in the modern age. With a career spanning over 7 decades, he defied conventions, invented movements, and influenced the course of art history in ways no one else has. From his melancholic blue period to the groundbreaking Cubist movement and beyond, Picasso's work was as dynamic as his life. But behind the genius was a man of contradictions, a devoted artist, a passionate lover, and a restless innovator. Join us as we explore the extraordinary journey of this cultural icon, from his humble beginnings in Spain to becoming one of the most celebrated artists of all time. Early years, 1881 to 1900. Born on October 25, 1881, in Malaga, Spain, Picasso entered the world destined for greatness. He was the first child of Don José Ruiz y Blasco, an artist and art teacher, and Maria Picasso y López. His father's dedication to art deeply influenced young Pablo, who began learning to paint and draw at just 7 years old. Picasso showed immense talent early on. By age 13, he had surpassed his father's skills, and the family moved to Barcelona to nurture his gift. He enrolled at the School of Fine Arts, where his talent astonished instructors. Yet Picasso wasn't content with traditional methods. Even at a young age, he sought to break free from rigid academic styles, preferring to explore his unique artistic voice. In 1897, he attended Madrid's Real Academia de Bellas Artes de San Fernando, Spain's top art school. However, Picasso quickly grew bored of formal instruction, spending most of his time studying the works of Spanish masters like El Greco, Francisco Goya, and Diego Velázquez at the Prado Museum. By the end of the 19th century, his early works began reflecting symbolist influences, hinting at the modernist trail he was destined to blaze. Middle years 1900 to 1940. In 1900, Picasso traveled to Paris, the vibrant heart of Europe's art world. He lived in poverty, sharing a small apartment with poet Max Jacob. Those were difficult times. They often had to burn Picasso's early works to keep warm during the harsh Paris winters. Yet, amidst these struggles, Picasso's determination and creativity flourished. By 1901, Picasso began signing his works simply as Picasso, leaving behind his paternal name and embracing his maternal surname. Around this time, he founded Young Art, a short-lived literary magazine with friend Francisco Assis Soler. The illustrations he created for the magazine revealed his growing sympathy for the struggles of the poor. The Blue Period, 1901 to 1904, the early 1900s saw Picasso's work take a deeply emotional turn. After the tragic suicide of his close friend Carlos Casagemas, Picasso entered what is now known as the Blue Period. Dominated by shades of blue, his paintings from this era exude melancholy and introspection, reflecting his grief and empathy for society's marginalized groups. Works like The Old Guitarist, portraying a blind, frail man clutching a guitar, and La Vie, exploring human relationships and struggles, exemplify this phase. Picasso often painted beggars and street performers, drawing from his own financial struggles. The Blue Period remains a poignant chapter, capturing the fragility and resilience of the human spirit. The Rose Period, 1904 to 1906. In contrast to the somber tone of the Blue Period, Picasso's Rose Period brought warmth, joy, and a sense of hope into his art. This shift occurred after he moved to Montmartre in Paris, surrounded by a vibrant artistic community. His works from this period feature shades of pink and red and depict harlequins, circus performers, and clowns, as seen in Boy with a Pipe and Family of Saltimbanques. Through these figures, Picasso explored themes of identity and human connection. The brighter tones and playful subjects reflected his growing stability and early experimentation with primitivism, setting the stage for his groundbreaking Cubist works. The birth of Cubism, 1907 to 1919. In 1907, Picasso unveiled Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, a painting that broke away from traditional notions of perspective and form. Influenced by African masks and Iberian sculpture, the angular forms and fragmented space marked the beginning of Cubism. This period represented a radical departure from convention, challenging viewers to reconsider how they perceive reality. The innovative use of geometry and abstraction made Cubism one of the most influential art movements of the 20th century. Alongside Georges Braque, Picasso developed this revolutionary style that deconstructed objects into geometric shapes and explored multiple viewpoints. During analytic cubism, 1907 to 1912, Picasso's works like Marjolin featured muted earth tones and abstracted forms. These compositions required active engagement from the audience, fostering a deeper connection between the art and its viewers. The synthetic cubism phase, 1912 to 1919, introduced collage, blending everyday materials like newspaper and fabric into compositions such as still life with chair caning. Cubism not only redefined modern art, but also established Picasso as a leader of relentless innovation, influencing countless artists and movements. Personal life and artistic shifts, 1919 to 1940. Following World War I, Picasso shifted gears, embracing neoclassicism. Works like Peasant Sleeping reflected a renewed interest in classical ideals of balance and harmony. But by the mid-1920s, Picasso had once again embraced innovation, incorporating surrealist elements into his art. Paintings like Three Dancers showcased distorted forms and symbolic imagery, reflecting the dreamlike subconscious focus of surrealism. Love and loss. Picasso's personal life during these years was tumultuous. He married Russian ballet dancer Olga Koklova in 1918, but their relationship soured due to his infidelities. In 1927, he began a relationship with 17-year-old Marie-Thérèse Walter, who inspired some of his most sensual works. Their affair lasted nearly a decade and produced a daughter, Maya. Despite his many romantic entanglements, Picasso's relationships were often marked by volatility and imbalance. Later years, 1940 to 1973. During World War II, Picasso remained in Nazi-occupied Paris, enduring Gestapo scrutiny. He continued to produce art, including some of his most politically charged works. His masterpiece Guernica, painted in 1937 during the Spanish Civil War, became an enduring symbol of anti-war sentiment, depicting the horrors of violence with harrowing intensity. Post-war creativity. After the war, Picasso entered a prolific phase, exploring sculpture and ceramics alongside painting. His relationship with Françoise Gillot, a young artist, brought two more children into his life, Claude and Paloma. Although their romance ended in heartbreak, it inspired many significant works. In his later years, Picasso married Jacqueline Roque, who became both his muse and devoted partner. His final works reflected a culmination of all his previous styles, blending vivid colors, bold forms, and expressive energy. Even as he aged, Picasso's creativity never waned, producing works that hinted at the neo-expressionist movement to come. Picasso's legacy. Pablo Picasso redefined art, constantly challenging conventions and pushing boundaries. Pablo Picasso wasn't just an artist of his time, he was an artist for all time. His groundbreaking works continue to inspire, and his spirit of innovation lives on in every artist who dares to push boundaries. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the extraordinary life of Picasso, a true legend whose legacy will endure for generations to come.
Imagine walking into a gallery and being greeted by vibrant, oversized comic book panels filled with bold colors, dotted textures, and dramatic captions. You're looking at the work of Roy Lichtenstein, one of the most celebrated figures of the pop art movement. Lichtenstein didn't just borrow from popular culture. He transformed it into high art, challenging conventions and redefining what art could be. In today's video, we'll explore the life and legacy of Roy Lichtenstein, a man who made the ordinary extraordinary and turned comic book imagery into a global art sensation. Early life. The making of an artist. Roy Fox Lichtenstein was born on October 27, 1923, in New York City. He grew up in a middle-class family in a neighborhood that would become known for its diversity and artistic culture. His mother, a teacher, and his father, a businessman, both encouraged Roy's early interest in art. At a young age, he was fascinated by drawing, especially illustrations in comic books and magazines. His artistic talents became apparent early on, and he began attending drawing classes at the Art Students League of New York while still in high school. His family did not initially see a career in art as a viable option, so Lichtenstein was encouraged to pursue a more practical profession. But despite their reservations, Lichtenstein remained determined. After graduating from high school, he enrolled at Ohio State University, where he studied fine arts, specializing in painting and drawing. World War II interrupted his studies, and Lichtenstein served in the U.S. Army. After returning from his service, he completed his degree at Ohio State and went on to teach at several universities, including a stint at Rutgers University. Although his early education focused on traditional art styles, it was during this period that he began exploring more modernist approaches. The early struggles of a modernist. In the years following his graduation, Lichtenstein struggled to find his distinctive artistic voice. He experimented with a variety of styles, including Cubism, abstract expressionism, and surrealism, but none of these seemed to resonate with either critics or the public. Despite this, he remained deeply invested in his art, constantly refining his technique and pushing the boundaries of what was considered acceptable in the art world. During the late 1940s and 1950s, Lichtenstein produced paintings in a more abstract, expressionistic style, but they failed to stand out in an era dominated by the likes of Jackson Pollock and Willem de Kooning. Lichtenstein's work was largely ignored by the contemporary art world, and he struggled to make a name for himself. At this point, the artist was often painting subjects like cowboys and jazz musicians, drawing from the cultural influences of the time. It wasn't until the early 1960s that Lichtenstein found the breakthrough that would make him one of the most influential artists of the 20th century. This breakthrough came with his embrace of pop art, a movement that would forever change the course of art history. Pop art and the comic book revolution. In 1961, Lichtenstein created Look Mickey, a painting based on a comic book illustration of Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. This work marked the beginning of his exploration of pop art, a movement that celebrated popular culture and challenged traditional notions of art. Lichtenstein's unique approach involved enlarging comic book panels and recreating them on canvas using oil and magna paint. He meticulously mimicked the look of printed comics, including the use of bende dots, a printing technique that created shading and texture. His works, such as Wham! And Drowning Girl, became instant sensations. They captured the drama and dynamism of comic books while elevating them to the status of fine art. Critics were divided. Some accused Lichtenstein of copying and commercializing art, while others praised his ability to blur the boundaries between high and low culture, technique, and style. What set Lichtenstein apart was his attention to detail and his innovative use of industrial techniques. He didn't merely reproduce comic panels. He transformed them, stripping away unnecessary details and reimagining them with bold compositions and vibrant colors. His process involved selecting a comic book panel, altering its composition, and enlarging it to create a new narrative. The use of bende dots became his signature style, symbolizing the mechanization of modern life and the mass production of culture. Lichtenstein's themes often revolved around love, war, and everyday life, captured with a sense of irony and humor. His works, like Oh, Jeff, I Love You, Too, but explored emotional tension, while pieces like Torpedo, Los, conveyed action and heroism, criticism and controversy. As Lichtenstein's fame grew, so did the criticism. Some accused him of plagiarism, arguing that he simply copied comic book art without giving credit to the original creators. This debate highlighted a larger tension in the art world about originality and appropriation. However, Lichtenstein defended his work, explaining that his intention was not to duplicate but to recontextualize. He once said, "The closer my work is to the original, the more critical and transformative the message." Despite the controversy, Lichtenstein's art sparked important conversations about the nature of creativity and the role of popular culture in shaping art. Beyond comics, expanding horizons. While Lichtenstein is best known for his comic-inspired works, his career was far more diverse. In the 1970s and 1980s, he explored new themes and styles, drawing inspiration from art history, modern architecture, and everyday objects. His series Brushstrokes parroted abstract expressionism by depicting exaggerated brushstrokes as mechanical and calculated rather than spontaneous. Similarly, his reinterpretations of masterpieces by artists like Monet and Picasso showcased his ability to merge classic and contemporary styles. Lichtenstein also ventured into sculpture, creating bold, three-dimensional works that retained his signature comic book aesthetic. From painted aluminum sculptures to large-scale public installations, his versatility as an artist was undeniable. Personal life and influences. Lichtenstein was known for his quiet, reserved personality, in stark contrast to the loud, dynamic nature of his art. He married twice, first to Isabel Wilson and later to Dorothy Herska, who supported him throughout his career. His influences ranged from commercial art and advertisements to the works of classical painters. He admired the clarity and directness of popular imagery, which he believed had a universal appeal. Legacy and impact. Roy Lichtenstein passed away on September 29, 1997, but his influence on art continues to be felt today. His unique approach to pop art not only brought comic book imagery to the forefront of the art world, but it also challenged our perceptions of what constitutes fine art. Lichtenstein's legacy is not just seen in art galleries and museums around the world. It can also be found in pop culture, fashion, and even advertising. His work has inspired countless artists, filmmakers, and designers, and his playful yet thought-provoking style continues to captivate new generations of viewers. Today, Lichtenstein's works are housed in major collections, including the Museum of Modern Art in New York and the Tate Modern in London. His ability to blend commercial culture with fine art redefined what was possible in the art world, and his exploration of mass media continues to resonate in an era dominated by digital imagery. Roy Lichtenstein didn't just paint comic book panels, he transformed them into powerful statements about modern life. His art captured the spirit of his time while offering a critical lens through which to view culture, consumerism, and mass media. Lichtenstein's innovative approach continues to influence and inspire, showing us that art is not confined by traditional boundaries. He elevated the ordinary to the extraordinary, and in doing so, forever changed the way we think about the relationship between art and popular culture. If you're inspired by Lichtenstein's story, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating biographies of artists who shaped the world. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Yayoi Kusama, born on March 22, 1929, in Matsumoto City, Japan, is a groundbreaking contemporary artist, renowned for her captivating infinity mirror rooms and her obsessive use of colorful dots. Throughout her extensive career, Kusama has worked across various mediums, including painting, sculpture, poetry, and design. With a career spanning more than 6 decades, she has become one of the most celebrated and influential artists in the world, making significant contributions to contemporary art and pop art movements. Her unique and immersive creations have transformed the art world, earning her recognition as one of the most important living artists. Early life and beginnings in Art Kusama was born into a prosperous family of seed merchants in the rural city of Matsumoto, Japan. As the youngest of 4 children, her early life was marked by both privilege and trauma. Kusama's mother, who had a strained relationship with her husband, tasked her with spying on her father's infidelities. This early exposure to adult issues and emotional turmoil shaped her view of sexuality, which would become a recurring theme in her art. Kusama's childhood was further defined by vivid hallucinations of dots covering everything around her, a motif that would later become synonymous with her artistic identity. From a young age, Kusama showed an intense interest in art, despite her mother's disapproval. At just 10 years old, she began painting, though her mother's initial reaction was not supportive. Despite this, Kusama pursued her passion, attending art school at the Kyoto School of Arts and Crafts. Her mother's goal was to have her daughter marry and live a domestic life, but Kusama rejected numerous marriage proposals, determined to forge her own path as an artist. The move to America and struggles in New York. In 1957, Kusama moved to New York City, becoming one of the first post-war Japanese artists to settle there. As a woman and foreigner in a male-dominated art scene, she faced challenges and struggled to gain recognition. In the late 1950s, Kusama developed her Infinity Nets series, symbolizing her feelings of isolation and self-obliteration. Her breakthrough came in 1959 when her work was shown at the Brada Gallery and positively reviewed by Donald Judd, helping raise her profile. During this time, she formed close connections with influential figures like Joseph Cornell. The rise to prominence and the 1960s. The 1960s marked a pivotal moment in Kusama's artistic evolution, as she began to experiment with more immersive installations and performances. Her work became increasingly centered on themes of sex, identity, and the body. This period also saw Kusama's growing interest in psychoanalysis, which she began in an attempt to understand her complex feelings about sexuality and trauma. Her exploration of the male phallus, often represented in her penis chairs and other accumulations of objects, was a way for her to express her anxieties surrounding male sexuality and power. Kusama's accumulations, which included items such as penis-shaped objects attached to everyday items, became a key part of her public persona. These works, though controversial and not commercially successful, garnered attention for their boldness and the way they addressed taboo subjects. As Kusama's art continued to evolve, she also experimented with performance art, using her body as a medium for expression. In 1967, she famously painted the bodies of hippie participants at a body festival in Provincetown, Massachusetts. Her influence on American art during this time cannot be overstated. Kusama's use of soft materials, including plush objects and repeated patterns, predated similar works by artists like Claes Oldenburg. Moreover, her iconic use of dots and repetitive motifs had a clear influence on the works of Andy Warhol. Kusama's ability to blend art with performance made her a key figure in the avant-garde movement, though she often struggled with being credited for her influence. The mirrored rooms and international recognition. By the mid-1960s, Kusama began to push the boundaries of art even further with her creation of immersive installations. One of her most famous early works, Peep Show, 1966, was an octagonal room filled with mirrors, allowing viewers to engage with the artwork by sticking their heads through holes. This was one of the first works to immerse the viewer physically in the art, a concept that Kusama would continue to explore in her later infinity mirror rooms. In the same year, Kusama gained international attention with her installation Narcissus Garden at the Venice Biennale. Although she was not formally invited to exhibit at the event, Kusama set up her mirrored balls outside the Italian pavilion and invited passers-by to buy their narcissism. This intervention caused a stir and was a significant moment in Kusama's career. However, despite the attention, she was asked to leave by the Biennale organizers. Kusama's art became increasingly political in the 1960s, particularly as the Vietnam War escalated. She staged numerous happenings, which were performative art events, often in the nude, as a form of protest against the war. These performances, which sometimes took place in high-profile public spaces like the Museum of Modern Art, garnered media attention and helped cement Kusama's reputation as an avant-garde artist. Return to Japan and struggles with mental health. By 1973, Kusama's career in New York had stalled, and she returned to Japan, where she faced the challenge of restarting her artistic practice. However, her mental health deteriorated, and she struggled with depression and anxiety. Unable to paint, Kusama's emotional turmoil led her to check herself into the Seiwa Mental Hospital, where she has lived since. It was in this hospital that Kusama began to rediscover her creativity, working on a series of collages and exploring new artistic directions. Though Kusama's return to Japan was marked by personal and professional struggles, it also marked the beginning of her rediscovery by the international art world. In 1989, the Center for International Contemporary Arts in New York held a retrospective of Kusama's work, which garnered renewed interest in her art. This retrospective laid the foundation for Kusama's resurgence in the 1990s, culminating in her representation of Japan at the Venice Biennale in 1993. This exhibition marked the beginning of her global success, with Kusama receiving the recognition she had long deserved. Recent success and legacy. In the 21st century, Kusama's work has achieved unparalleled success. She has become the most successful living artist and the highest-grossing female artist of all time. Her iconic infinity mirror rooms, in which visitors are surrounded by endless reflections of Kusama's signature dots, have drawn massive crowds worldwide. These immersive installations, along with other works like the Obliteration Room, 2002, and her iconic pumpkin sculptures, continue to captivate audiences and redefine the boundaries of contemporary art. Kusama's work is held in major collections around the world, including the Museum of Modern Art in New York and Tate Modern in London. In 2017, the Yayoi Kusama Museum opened in Tokyo, dedicated to showcasing her life's work and providing a permanent home for her art. Kusama's influence on contemporary art is undeniable, and her legacy continues to inspire new generations of artists. Awards and recognition. Throughout her career, Kusama has received numerous prestigious awards and honors, including the Asahi Prize in 2001, the French Ordre des Arts et des Lettres in 2003, and the 18th Premium Imperial Award for Painting in 2006. Her work continues to receive widespread recognition, solidifying her status as one of the most influential and important artists of her time. Yayoi Kusama's journey from obscurity to international acclaim is a testament to her resilience and dedication to her art. Her work continues to inspire and challenge the boundaries of contemporary art, leaving an unforgettable legacy. If you enjoyed learning about Kusama's incredible life and achievements, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories of iconic artists. Thanks for watching.